Ready? I know he was still having some issues with his leg, so he called me, I think, on Monday. Well, he called me last week, and then he called me again on Monday to see if there's what he's allowed to take for any lingering injuries, pain medication. So I said, well, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you from talking with our doctors over the years, you can always, any athlete can always take Tylenol and can ice the injury. You can take acetaminophen and you can use ice. Anything more than that, you need permission. You can't take narcotics or anything that's on the WADA list, but if there's something between Tylenol and what's on the WADA list, you can get cleared to take that, but you need to notify our doctors and they have to okay it. So he was going to go see his doctor early in the week and then have his doctor call our doctor and try to see what if anything, he could take stronger than Tylenol. That was the last conversation I had with him. So I don't know. The only other conversation I had with him was paying the fine. He was the commission $32,000. So for this fight, he was going to make $40,000 to show, $40,000 to win. So we were going to split it. Usually we would take all $32,000 from the show money, but I said, I talked to the chairman who at the time, and he said he was okay cutting Karo some breaks and making it a 16-16 deal. So had he won, we'd get our $32,000, and Karo would walk away with his $48,000. But if Karo lost or it was a draw, instead of walking away with only $8,000, he'd walk away with $24,000, and we just get our $16,000 remainder later. So we'd worked with him on that, and we're happy to work with him on that. So he would take home at least $24,000, if not $48,000. But I just found that out 3 minutes ago. So I'm surprised. I don't know if there's a replacement for Hazlitt or not. Hopefully there is. But I don't know. I don't know anything other than that.
Wouldn't you expect a fighter like that to know what he could take, especially what he went through a year ago?
Well, I think I showed him what he can't take. But it's not uncommon for a fighter to say, I have some sort of situation and I want to make sure that I can take this drug, or if I can't, is there an alternative I can take? So we definitely encourage that. And so he did the right thing calling me and finding that out. And then, like I said, he was supposed to see his doctor either Monday or Tuesday and then have his doctor contact our doctor. So he did the right things in that regard.
And when did you hear from him?
I think it was on Monday. I talked to him the week before as well.
But do we know for sure is that why he's out? Or you have no idea why he's out?
I was told he was out 2 minutes ago. Okay. So I have no official word he's even out.
Okay. But we don't know that it's another drug snafu where he took something he shouldn't and fessed up to it.
No. There's no evidence of that whatsoever. And like I said, officially, I've not even told he's off the card.
Okay. An interesting question. I hadn't thought of the whole collection of the money. Do you actually have trouble getting the money sometimes? Do you go as far as having a collector to go out and get the money? I figured guys had to pay regardless before they could fight again.
Yeah, that's the case. I mean, in Nevada you have to, and we were able, like I said, to get. If he won the fight, we would have got the whole money. If not, we'd get at least half of it. And I think there was extenuating circumstances that cut him a little bit of slack. But again, he'd have to pay the full amount had he won the fight, and at least half the fight had he not won the fight. So that's usually the situation. But there's people, if they never fight here again in Nevada, it's sometimes tough to get them to pay. Still waiting for Pablo Stula to pay us from the Pride Show years ago.
Was that 2006?
I think so. But he's back in Poland. A little difficult to get that money. But usually if they fight, when they come back here, they have to pay or reach an agreement like what Karo did with me to pay it. Other situations, sometimes I'm able to get the money from another commission. If fighters fighting somewhere else, they'll take the money out of the purse. But sometimes it takes a while to get the money paid. But we do. If need to, we can turn it over to collection agency. But we try not to do that if we don't have to, so we don't have to incur the costs.
Real quick, can we get your comments on the last couple of fight cards with all the controversy with the judging? Does there need to be changes with judging? Well, but you use those guys. Sure, so just in general,
I wasn't there.
Is there an issue right now with judging, or do you think it's being overblown? Do you think maybe it's the product of TV calling it one way and then people kind of overreacting the other? Because we've seen that happen in boxing.
Yeah, that's always going to be the case. I mean, these are I say that over and over again, and people tend to maybe misunderstand it or get sick of hearing me say it, but if it's the facts, it's the facts, and that is these fights are very well matched. I mean, it's incredible. If you look at even the undercard of a big mixed martial arts event, especially at the UFC and WEC level, and compare that to an undercard of a big boxing event, there's no question which fights are more competitive. It's the MMA matches, and I think it even applies on the main cards as well. So plus you only have 3 rounds or maybe 5 rounds at most, so there's not a lot of room for variance. So you have one close round that can make a big difference. Could be the difference on the winner and the loser on a judge's card than say in a 12-round fight where one round may not make a difference. It could, but it's a lot mathematically it's a lot less likely to happen. So that's what I think it is. I mean, there's always going to be. I mean, any sport includes subjective judging, be it boxing, diving, figure skating, mixed martial arts, all those things. There's always controversies involved, and there's people in one way or the other. The last 2 fights that have got a lot of controversy, neither one have in Nevada, and I haven't seen either one of those fights yet, though I plan to watch them, but I wasn't there live, which is more importantly than even watching on TV. I saw a lot of people saying the judges were right. Why are people complaining about it? And other people saying, what, are you crazy? Of course the judges are way wrong. What's wrong with these judges? So I don't see a big issue there at all. But that being said, you always want to improve every aspect of the game, including officiating. And I think a lot of the officials that I know take that very seriously and do their best to improve what they've already learned and go above and beyond that. So I'm quite pleased with it. But controversy doesn't necessarily mean a bad thing with the sport here. It's exciting and to have these close competitive matches, and that's only a positive thing.